Okay, so let's start. So last time you guys, have tried Revit yourself. What we are creating is called a Revit project, and the extension of Revit project is called RVT. So like if you create a model, create a project, and you save it, the file extension should be RVT. Unlike CAD, RVT or the project is not just the 3D model you are creating. It also has all the information you created inside it. So for example, the schedules, the quantities, the text, the drawings, and also like the parameters. For example, like the materials, insulation, and maybe the phone number of your supplier. So all the pieces of information created by you all integrated that in the package, and the package we call this project. So it includes both the geometry information as well as other information. So that's called a Revit project. So for level, remember the first thing we created in a Revit model is actually the level line. So if I open, our last, if I open this one, and if I open the elevation plan, remember, so this is basically the level line we created last time. And this is the level. So it defines the elevation. So very simple. A lot of people, when they create a Revit model, they start by just plotting the walls and floors. That's not a good practice. So a recommended practice is to always have your level lines and also grid lines ready before you start your modeling. So we will also talk about how to create the grid lines today, all right? So that's levels, and this is a quick example. You guys know what levels mean, right? So shows the elevation, and also that also affects the view depths. That's why sometimes you couldn't see the models. This is a level line in a structure model. The example of that, if you're creating a fairly complex model, you could have a lot of level lines. And this is again level lines in a MEP model. So pretty much for architecture, for MEP, for structure, we need the level lines. And this is the, I think I forgot to include grid lines. You see this A, B, C, D, and later we also created, in the floor plan, where we have one way going as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the numbers, the other way going as A, B, C, D, the letters. So that's actually a grid line. And the reason we are using numbers and letters is easier for us to identify a location. So for example, if we are talking to others and you say, hey, can you provide more information about that beam located at C3? So they can basically go find the number, letter C and number 3, so they know where to find that beam. That's called a grid line. So we have elevation plan, we have level lines, floor plan, we have this grid lines. And elevation plan, we also can have these grid plans too, grid lines too. Okay, so that's the level lines, grid lines. This is how Revit organize their information. So if you guys recall, the reason that Revit became successful around the year 2000, it was proposed, it's first time it proposed something called a family editor. Family editor is actually a hierarchical way to manage a lot of things inside Revit. So we are talking potentially thousands or maybe tens of thousands potential elements inside a model. We do need a structured way to manage everything. So Revit created this hierarchical level, category, family, tab, and instance since the year 2000, and we are still using this kind of a concept. So what is a category? So the category, let's just use this door as an example. The entire door is called a category. So category controls all the, organizations, visibility, the graphic representation of one type of thing, of one type of family. So let's say this is a door, or let's say windows, that's a category. Ceilings, that's a category. So pretty much you see here, that's the first level of things that you can imagine. Family is the second level of this hierarchical structure. So it's for example, for the door example, it can be a single door, double door, glass door, okay? And the tab actually is a specific representation of the family, usually defined by the dimensions of that, by the specific parameters of that. For example, for single door, we also have different dimensions and different types of single door. And the instance is actually one of the realizations of the tab. So for example, for this warehouse building, we have this tab called a 36 by 84 flush single door, but we have 100 such doors. So if I pick any one of them, it's called one instance. Okay, so because of this kind of organization in Revit, we need to be really careful whenever you're changing a thing, like we showed last time. So let's say if you don't like the dimension of this door and you go there, you edit a tab, then if you change dimension, what will happen? Pretty much all the other 99 instances of the same type will be changed. So that's why last time we say, if you really want to change just one instance, unfortunately, there's no easier way. You have to create a new tab for that. And then change, you are still changing that one tab. It just, that tab has only one instance, makes sense? So category, family, tab, and instance, that's the 4 levels, how Revit organizes everything. There's an easier way to see all the, let me see, to see all the families of, if you want to see, hey, what are all the categories and all the families included in Revit? I'm just trying to find that for you. It should be here, program files. Okay, so let me go here. Maybe it's either here. Let's go to insert and load family. You see this one basically opens this folder. Let me check where's this folder. It's actually under program data, Autodesk. You know, if you're using Revit 2021, then the folder name will be called RVT 2021, Libraries US Impro. And if you go open that folder, you see all the things here. That's actually what? Can anybody tell me what each folder means? These folders are categories or families or tabs?
Categories.
Sorry, what's that? Categories, yes.
Categories.
So, exactly. So these are all the categories, very common categories. So if I go to doors and we start to see, you know, of course, that's, you know, different type of doors. We start to see this, you know, door, curtain, wall, double glass. What are these?
Right.
Family is correct. You can tell from the tab. It's called Autodesk Revit Family, and the extension is called RFA. Okay. So this is the family. And once again, when you save the project, you know, remember to save it as a project, not a project template, not a family. You know, sometimes I saw students created something, but save it as a family, which means you are telling Revit the entire thing you are creating is something that others can load and reuse, and it's called a family. Okay, so no, you are creating a project with all the information. So this is actually family. And if you go open the family, it actually contains different dimensions of doors, right? So for each dimension of doors, for each particular type of doors, that's a tab. And when you create a multiple instance of this door, it's actually called instance. Make sense? And this is not a complete list of the category, it's just a common list and installed in your computer by default. But if you want to check the common list, there's actually a link showing all the categories included in Revit. Oh my goodness, it's down. Okay. If you're interested, you can definitely search that. That's basically all the categories included in Revit. You probably see something called X, right? This is how the computer program understands the information. Even for dimensions, for coordinates, they treat them as one category. So they can save all necessary information related to that. Like a report, you know, if you want to generate a report, you also treat it as a category. But we will see something that looks familiar, right? So we have ceilings, that's category. Ceiling cut pattern, that's all categories. Columns, cont'd, curtain wall, curves, doors, ducts, floors, HVAC. You know, that's all the categories. Now you can imagine how many things you can possibly create inside of Revit. So that's the 4 levels of that. So I'm going to skip the family definition, but talking about the family, there are 3 types of family inside of Revit as well, depending on the flexibility to edit them or not. So instead of showing you the concept, I think just showing an example, okay? The system family is actually, you can imagine the system families come with your Revit model. So all the fundamental things, the basic things, most common things that you would need for a model, Autodesk created them and integrate them into your Revit. That's called a system family. So for example, in this case, all the walls, floors, colored in red, that's actually system families. So typically these things are, prefabricated or constructed on site. The most common components, and the many are structural components. We also have this loadable families. The loadable family is actually something that you can download, and usually these loadable families are not commonly used. So you can download from the Autodesk libraries or from Revit City. You download them as IFA file and you load them. So they are not default families for you to use. For example, even the beams and the columns are usually common structures, but maybe for a specific type of a beam, we don't have them in the default folder. So we can basically go to Revit and download that and install that. So load them. That's actually very straightforward, loadable families. And another thing is called in place. So this is a good example. To put it simple, Autodesk doesn't create this family, and others don't create this family because it's so uncommon. But you do need something, for example, for this arc structure that you need for the entries of this building. And definitely you can just open the Revit Family editor and create something for yourself, for your own use. The Family editor is very similar to AutoCAD. You have to plot the lines and the curves and define the mass of that. So it's not something like you can load from the family list of Revit, because there's no such a thing. Okay, you have to create it and save it as an IFA file. That's actually what we call the in-place family. So this is an example. The roof, it's a common roof, so that's system family. This garage door and this specific entry door, maybe it's not coming with the default Revit folder, but we can download it somewhere and load it. So that's loadable. This is also similar, like the land topper surface, that's similar system family, and the furniture and the washer dryer, that's loadable, system loadable. So those are probably we can load from somewhere. So 3 kinds of families: system family, loadable families, and in-place family. And this is another important concept for Revit, is the Revit parameters. The reason we call this building information modeling is because of information. Information is probably the most important letter in BIM. How do we save information? We save them as different parameters. So if I open a model, so if I select anything, and this one opens this property window, and all the lines here, all the atoms here, that's parameters. So those are the things that for us to share information, create schedules, create quantities easily. So let me just show you another model, and let's go over the 4 kinds of parameters. Okay, so this is a school project provided by Revit. I'm just going to use it as an example. All right, so we have 4 types of parameters in Revit: system parameters, family parameters, project parameters, and shared parameters. The reason we're having them is because we gave them different level of flexibility. For system parameters, so let's go them one by one. So for system parameters, you cannot create them or delete them. The system parameters are the most commonly used parameters that come with Revit, come with a BIM model. So for example, if I go here and I select this door, and basically for facing, for example, facing is about this is new construction or design, or this is a demolition, that facing itself is a system, system parameter. If I go to identity data, like hardware group, image, comment, mark, that's all system parameters. So if I go edit tab, you probably can see more system parameters. So everything underneath this identity data, identity data is about the ID of the particular element, like the type, keynote, model, manufacturer, URL, description, assembly code. Assembly code is actually the cost code. It shows it's a letter followed by 6 digits. It's the standard way for us to organize the cost estimating. So those and the cost, you can imagine these are the most commonly used parameters, and we call them system parameters. System parameters can be scheduled. What I mean? So scheduling is actually has a different meaning here. The scheduling is more meaning create a schedule of quantities in Revit. So let me go here. And so this is actually in your project browser, there's a line called schedule quantities. So let me go here and right click on the new quantity and schedules and quantities. So let me see if I want to check all the doors. I want to have a schedule to show all the doors and maybe their parameters, their cons, their cost. So I can basically go here. All the numbers, all the parameters here you see are family parameters. So these are considered as the most commonly used parameters. So let's say I want to list all the types of them. I also want to list the cons of them, and maybe cost. Of course, the parameters here, but maybe there's no value assigned to it. It means we have an empty line waiting for somebody to input the cost. So I'm going to do this one. And I can go to sorting and grouping. I want to sort everything based on the tab. So I want to show all the same type. I want to group all the same type of doors. So I don't want to atomize all the instances. So I want to do this and go OK. Then, this schedule is created. It's very convenient. It shows that these are different types of doors and shows the cost are empty, like I mentioned. So the type, quant, cost, these are the system parameters. So system parameters can be scheduled. This is what it means. Can create a schedule of quantity using those parameters. But you cannot create new system parameters or remove any existing system parameters, okay? So the second type of parameter is called family parameters. It can only, project parameters. Let's talk about project parameters. Project parameters can only be created or removed within your current project. So if you create a project parameter and save your project and open a new project, which is a new Revit model, would you see these parameters? No, they are gone. So you are only using them for this particular RVT file, this particular project. So let me go here again. Let's go back to the 0-1 level. And let's see, I want to go check maybe this room. So this actually is also object, the room is called a room, okay? And if you go here, in fact, under the identity data, we do have a project parameter, which is the occupant. So how do I know it? If I go to manage and go to this project parameters, it lists all the project parameters the author of this project created. That includes occupant. It shows that who is sitting in this room. If this is office, or if this is conference room, but if this is office, we can basically put the name that who is sitting in this room. So for example, I go here, I select this one, and then just go to apply. So, I basically just gave this a value to, where's that? Okay, probably need to change the tab of this one. So this is actually a project parameter. What I mean? That means Autodesk doesn't think this is a very commonly used parameter, so they didn't create this as a default system parameter, but you can definitely create that. So how do we create that? So let me just show you a quick example. Let's say project parameter, and let's say we want to add a new one. So this one shows product parameter. We will talk about shared parameter later. So let's say I also want to create one called the phone extension, okay? And I want to basically give this one to either just this instance or this tab. So guys, if I give this to this tab, what I mean? Can anyone tell me? Okay, so quiet. So if I assign this to the type, which means after I create this one, every single room will have this new parameter. But if I create this for this instance, it will only be this room. Make sense? All right, so let's say I want to do this phone extend. This is just a common. It's now nothing about the structure HY, you know, the discipline, so it's common. The type should be just integer. And I want it to be appearing, let me see, maybe identity data. So this one actually, this one shows where in the property window or property groups you will see it. So let's save this to the identity data. All right, here. And I'm going to just assign this to the rooms here and click OK. Okay, so once this is done, if I select this room again, now you'll be able to see this phone extension. So let's say 1, 2, 3. So you'll be saved here, all right? There's something wrong with occupant, so let me just double check it. Let's go to manage, product parameter, and I go occupant, modify, occupant value assigned to per group, identity data. Okay, it should assign to rooms. Okay, I see. All right, let me just, all right, so now I have this Eric and the 1, 2, 3. And this can also be scheduled. What do I mean? So if I go here and create a new schedule, and I want to create one for all the rooms. So I'm going to find the room, all right, room schedule. And here you will be able to see occupant and the phone extent. Make sense? So it's possible for me to just add area, occupant, and the phone extent. So you will see them here along with the system parameters. So product parameters can be scheduled and go, maybe I just show all the item nest every instance. That's probably too much. Yeah, let's just use occupant to sort it. All right, so now you see, you will see the information, okay? Because only one value for the occupant, you will only see one instance. Otherwise, you will see whole list of rooms. And this one will basically show the value you put in. So that's called product parameters. So for family parameters, this one can only be added and created and removed inside the family editor mode, not your project mode. And it cannot be scheduled. So usually people use it for parametric modeling. So for example, if you know the number of seats is related to the size of the room, and there's a formula. So like every square foot or every 10 square foot, you have one seat, for example, you have to define a formula. And then you need to create some parameters about the size of the room, the number of the seats, and to have your formula, have your function built in. That's it. It's for internal calculation, but you cannot show that information in your schedule of quantities. So let me show you one quick example again, that how we can create a family parameter. So let's say I'm going to this door. So what is a family editor? You just double click this door. Now you're opening this CAD-like interface. This is the family editor mode. And you can create a new family by just plotting the lines and defining everything, okay? So basically here, that's actually, if you want to see all the parameters related to this family, you just go family tabs. And now everything here, if you can edit it, that's actually a family, a family parameter, okay? Let me see. for example, like offsite, that's family parameter, okay? Usually family parameter relates to the dimensions of a tab. So you do not want to see the specific dimensions in the schedule of quantities, but the dimensions are useful for you to calculate the total area size, you know, the total weights. So that's part of the family parameter. Let me find another one. This is the wall. Okay, that's not a good example. Let me see the stair. Yeah, this actually contains multiple instances. Let's see. Let's go to the door as well. Okay, so let's see, how do we create a family parameter? So I'm just going to this one, and let's say I want to add a new family parameter. So this is family. I want to say this is author, like who created this family. You know, this is useful when we want to trace back who created this one, and ask questions, or if we find some errors. We definitely want to do this. So it's common. This is text. Yeah, group it by, yes, maybe text. And of course, you can just add some explanation to it and go, okay. So after you do it, you will see this new group called author. So basically just say Eric do, and click apply. Okay, and load it into projects. So this one shows you want to load it to where. You can load it to the project or load to the original family. So if you go family, then next time when I share this family with anybody, and they will be able to see the author information, okay? Where's that? Okay, I need to save it. I need to save that. Okay, loading. Something's wrong here. Overwriting. Oh, I see. I actually actually saw the same issues and figure out what happened. I'm using a university computer, and whenever I try to write a file to my C drive, it just needs a permission. It just basically forbidden me from doing that. It just stopped me from doing that. So I cannot save a copy. But now imagine that you can save a copy of this RFE file, and next time you open this this tab, you will be able to see that a new family parameter that I created. Okay, so that's the family parameter. Like I said, family parameter is very limited. That usually it's about the dimensions, and it's usually for internal calculation. It wouldn't appear in the final report. It wouldn't appear in the schedules or tags. So shared parameter is actually you create something and save it as a text file, txt file, and you can load that one from any project, from any family, instead of manually typing the name and defining parameters, anything. So that's called a shared parameter. So let me just give you a quick example. So go there, I go manage, and here I just go shared parameter. And once again, I figure out I have to save it on my desktop instead of C drive. Otherwise, I cannot save any shared parameter. So let me just do this one. I'm going to create one called on my desktop. I'm going to create one called shared parameter class demo. Okay, so this is a txt file, like I said. So first you have to create a group. Basically, Revit will ask you to organize information in a very structured way. So let's say this is for facility manager. Okay, or maybe just facility management. So now we create this group, and under this group, I want to create a new shared parameter called a carpet. Tap. And this is common. This is text. And of course, you can just give it a description, provide tab here. You can just do whatever you want to do and click OK. So now I'm going to save this one. All right, so now you will have a new text file. Of course, you can save it in your company server or share this one with your colleagues, with Outlook, whatever. I'm just created one parameter, but imagine you can create 100, 200 parameters that your company always use. And then next time when you go here, say, oh, so in my parameter list, I don't have such a copy tab, but it's so important for me to know it. So how do I do it? I can just go, let me see, manage project parameter. And I can just say, okay, let me see here. Manage, sorry, project parameter. And I just say, I want to add a new one. But now instead of you just tab all the things once again, like a carpet tab, blah, blah, blah. You can basically just select shared, and you can guess what? You can just select from the file you just created, okay? So now imagine you have multiple groups, one group for facility managers, one group for all the IT managers, one group for all the estimators, and underneath this group, you have different parameters your company always use, and you can select this one and go okay. Then immediately you have that, you can definitely assign this to your rooms and click OK. Click OK. And guess what? Next time when you select this one, you will have, I forgot where I put it, but you will definitely have this copy tab as your family animation. Where did I put it? Let me see. Manage project parameters. Copy tab, modify. I probably want to just send it to the ID data since this by default is showing up. So let me see. All right. So next time when you select this one, you will be able to see the copy type. So you can just say, not familiar, just Office type 1. Go OK. Okay, something's wrong again with the definition of that. Okay, I'm gonna fix that later. So then, if by the end of the project you want to create a schedule of quantities, you just go there and select a room, and that one will appear again. So that's the 4 tabs of Revit parameters. That will cover pretty much the basics of Revit. So now you have a sense at how Revit manages all the components that's using a structured way called the family editor. So you do have 4 levels. What are the 4 levels, guys? The categories, categories, family, tab, and the instances. And also Revit uses these 4 parameters to better manage information. System parameter, family parameter, product parameter, shared parameters. So family parameter is the most limited one. It's usually just used for internal calculation. System parameters, product parameters, and shared parameters can all be scheduled or tagged, which means if you want to generate a schedule of quantities, you will be able to see them. System parameters you cannot change or remove, they come with your Revit. Project parameters you can create and remove, but only on one single project. The shared parameters is very similar to project parameter, but it's just you are creating a txt file that you can reuse that all the time. All right, so I'm going to skip, for today, I'm going to skip all the other definitions for Revit thing, since we need to start this Revit tutorial. But before that, do you guys have any question about this Revit basics? No? All right. So
I have a question.
Sure.
So this lecture, this PowerPoint, we started from slide 77. What about the other?
Yes, I will cover them that next week.
We're gonna cover it next week. Okay.
Yes, yes, we will cover that. Because I just feel that we need to focus on Revit since you guys are working on your first assignment. So let's spend more time on Revit, and we will cover the definitions and concepts later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. So now let's go back to our course demo project. Let me click, close all the unnecessary windows. So if you need to load the model, you can go to your canvas and go to Vic2 and go to its Vic2 topic. No, it's not here. Yes, go to your home and module, Vic2 module and Vic2 lab tutorial, Revit Architecture B, and you can download this one. This is the latest model we are using. It's the steps 1 through 14 called the Revit demo, RVT model. So let's open that. I'm just going to close all the windows. Okay, so now this is the model we have. So the item 15 of our tutorial is actually, I think we tried it already, but let's just review that. That's how you edit the shape of an existing item. So let's say if I want to edit the shape of my roof again, so I just go to the floor plan, roof level, and select whatever object you have. So once you select that, once you select it, it will highlight this modify tab. And there's a button called edit footprint. You just go there, select it. And then this is actually shows the original lines you plotted for this roof. You can basically just change the shape. So let's say I want to make this size bigger since I want it to cover the entry of my entry level. So I can just basically do something like this. I can make a weird roof like this. Just whatever I want to do. All right. Just keep that in mind that to create a floor, ceiling, a roof, it must be enclosed shape, right? So for this one, we do have some unnecessary line. Very simple. This is just the unnecessary line we do not need. So just double click the exit button, and select this one, and click the delete button. So we delete that. And this one is supposed to give us a closed loop. Click OK. And let's take a 3D view of that. So basically, you can change the existing shape of the roof. And like I mentioned, you can also do some more edit. So for example, let me go back to my roof level. For example, I want to create this window on the roof. So I'm just going to use, let's try a different shape. So I'm just create a big hole here. All right. And okay. See, this is basically how it works. Very simple, right? And it's so smart. They also cut a hole on the wall. Okay, so that's pretty much the 15. I wouldn't go over 12. 12 is actually, like I mentioned earlier, so we want to edit the shape of the floor, but I want to make sure we have the most accurate volume for the floor, so we don't want it to be overlying with the wall. So that's how we carefully change the line, the boundary line of the floor. It's just very time consuming, so I'm just going to skip that. All right, so that's the how do you edit that. Now let's talk about something that is more useful for your first homework. So for example, you probably don't want this kind of a concrete floor. You know, this is the first floor. You probably want this to be a wooden floor or carpet floor. Does that mean that you need to add another floor or another object on top of it? No. So basically what we need to do is, let's go to, this is 01 lower level. Let's say I want to change the surface of my floor. So let me just select the floor first. Okay. So by the way, guys, this is how you select things. If you go to the center of that, you cannot select it because Revit doesn't know which object you want to select. You have to go to the boundary line of that. So, but if you go to the boundary line, the thing is you could be selecting other things because their boundary lines are overlying. So now put your mouse here and just click the tab button. This button, tab, and if you just go tab, and basically that will switch between the objects it's selecting, and if this is selecting the wall, so I'm just going to come here and tab button, So until you see this selecting the thing you want, so you can make it sure, you can make it sure from this is property window. So I select this one. Now I say this is a generic 12-inch floor, I don't want it. Now you can actually see we do have the floor that has the wooden finish, okay? So this is a wooden finish, wood finish. I'm just going to select it. Actually, just by doing that, let me go back to the 3D view. You actually changed the first level 1 floor to this wooden floor. Some of you asked me about the wall. You know, for example, here, this is just a concrete wall, generic wall, and the thickness is 6 inch. For graduate students, you know, I know some drawings require you to plot like a 10-inch thick wall, 8-inch thick wall with bricks, finish the bricks veneer outside, and that's the finish, and also concrete inside. Actually, you do not need to create 2 separate walls here. It will be very not difficult, but unnecessary. So how do we do it? This is not on a tutorial, okay, guys? This is more advanced use of a Revit architecture. So I'm just going to talk it, and also I record it. You can actually play back the video, the recording, if you have more questions. So actually, we can change the parameters of this 6-inch wall and to add different finish. So let's just go to Edit tab. Number one thing, best practice is what, guys? Always duplicate, because you don't want to mess up other walls, right? So let's say I want to duplicate, and I want to call this 9-inch concrete with brick finish, okay? Now I have this one. Now underneath this group called construction, there's one thing called structure, okay? And go edit. This is where we can edit what are included in this wall. And this one now shows, you know, just concrete. So I'm going to, so this one shows structure. That's the by category, that's concrete and 6-inch. So I'm going to insert one, all right? So I'm going to call this one finish. Finish 1, finish 2. That's actually, is the interior side or exterior side. So this is exterior side. And here, if you select these layers above, right, the layers, the material, and okay, so first of all, let me change this original structure. That's by default, that's concrete. Let me change it to 6-inch, and I want to change this one. Hold on, 6, and I want to change this one to 3. All right, and then I select this material and I select the 3 dots. If you open this material library, that you can basically select whatever material you want. So I'm just going to select this bricks common, and this one shows the color of it, okay, and also shows the pattern of it. If you're not sure, there's let me see this one. Where's the preview? Okay, so for this one, it doesn't have a preview. Okay, so now we select this one, click OK. So we just changed the finish to this brick common, and we also redefined the thickness to 3. Click OK. Okay. So now if I go back to this wall, where's the finish? Maybe I just change the interior finish. Let me just see. Yeah, actually I messed up the side. I'm supposed to use the other finish, but anyway. So now I can see I changed the thickness of the wall, and as well as, you know, the finish of that. So it looks like a brick wall. Sometimes I also see this practice that you can add your own picture for the texture of anything in Revit. So how do we do it? Let me just show you quickly. So let's go to images, Google, and I want a really good, like a concrete finish. Or you can take some picture yourself, okay? So I'm just going to find this interesting concrete finish. Let me find a good picture of that. Like this one, all right? So now I'm just going to save it. I'm just going to put it on my desktop, all right? So now let me go back and I say, hey, I don't like this, concrete walls. I'm just going to select maybe this side of the wall. Okay. And then go to edit tab. Instead of adding a new layer, I just want, for the sake of time, I'm just going to change the material here. So this is a concrete, cast in place gray. This is the default appearance by Autodesk. So I just go to appearance. This is the image that Autodesk is using. After you render, it will look like that, okay? But if I don't like it, I can basically go there and I want to see, click this one. This is called the source. Click this one. And I want to find the one I just downloaded. Oh, I took a picture. So I just go this. So basically replace that. Of course, you can also change the scale and the brightness. There are so many things you can adjust. 90. And also you can change the scale of that. Offside rotation, scale is here. So I'm just going to skip that and down. All right. So now I change that. Once again, it's a good practice to not messing up this one. So usually I would recommend you to just create a new material from the existing library. So you can create a new one from this concrete cast in place gray and mess it up, okay? But in here, just for demonstration, I'm just going to change this one and then click OK, click OK. Now actually the appearance now look like the new one that I created. This is very useful that when you want to create a photorealistic texture, especially after you render that. I'm just trying to just do a temporary render quickly. I don't know how it looks like. I don't recommend guys to do this one. It requires really good computer graphic card.
So Dr. Du, for 10-inch exterior wall, so the structure is concrete, that would be 6 inches and the brick would be exterior finish. What would be the interior core, which is within the core boundary layers below?
Yeah, so actually the drawing doesn't specify that, right? So you can just pick whatever you want and you can change the color, you can change the appearance, you can add a very thin layer and play with the material.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, now you can see, after temporary render, you can see the texture actually looks very different from the default texture, right? So this is by default, the texture given by Autodesk, but this is the picture. Of course, it doesn't look good because number one, I didn't adjust the scale. You can see the repetitive pattern. So if you do some Photoshop thing or if you just scale it up, you wouldn't see that. And number two is I'm just using the temporary render, but if I use the high quality render, it will be very different. Okay, so let me adjust it back. Okay, so that's how we edit that, okay? All right, so now let's say I have pretty much done with my building, so I'm going to add a suspended ceiling, okay? So let's say if I want to add a ceiling to this level, this is 0-1 lower level, this is 0-2 entry level, this is roof level. Let's say I want to add a suspended ceiling here. Which ceiling plan should I go to? Can anybody tell me? Anybody? Should I go to 0-1 lower level for ceiling or should I go to 0-2 entry level for ceiling?
Entry level.
Yes, no, sorry. This ceiling still belongs to 0-1 lower level. So you stand on 0-1 lower level, the ceiling you see actually belongs to 0-1 lower level. Make sense? So let's go to ceiling plan, 0-1 lower level ceiling plan. And then we want to add a ceiling here. Okay, so go to architecture and we see the ceiling. You can do automatic ceiling or sketch ceiling. The automatic ceiling, basically you just select closed area. Let me see, there's no such a closed area for us to do. So if I do have a closed area, you can add this ceiling like that. But let me just do this ceiling with sketch. So I'm just going to, once again, ceiling must be closed loop. Can I go all the way here? Oh, I'm still missing something anyway. So go here and boom, you have your ceiling. So how it looks like, Let me go back to my 3D view. You guys see this ceiling over there? That's actually suspended ceiling, right? And you see that clearance, that's where your MEP system will go to, right? Of course, this is a bad design because my ceiling go through the stairs. Let's fix that later. Okay, so this is ceiling, and you probably say, hey, you are giving up too much space between the ceiling and the upper level floor. Can I change it? Of course, yes, you can. So that's the head offside. If you don't like it, you can change it. Just go apply. Oh, that's wrong. That's offset from where? Okay, so should be moving up. That's too much. Let's see 9. All right, so that's our ceiling. Why we need a ceiling? Because without a ceiling, you cannot add your light fixture. Let me remove the ceiling just for now, and let me go to my 0-1 lower level. Let's say I want to add a light fixture here. So if I go to
But you are on the floor plan, Dr. Dio. Like, should
yes,
we go to the ceiling plan? Or
exactly. So we need to go to ceiling plan. You're right. I'm just trying to show you it won't work. So anyway, so I'm gonna go to 0-1 lower level ceiling plan. You are right. Yes, we need to go to ceiling plan and go to systems. And there's a light fixture. There's nothing loaded. That's by default. Would you like to load? Yes. Just go that, and it will basically open the folder for you. So let's go find the lighting, architectural, internal. That's all the light fixture you have. And by the way, guys, notice that the extension of that is IFA. That's family, right? So let me just select all and just load everything. Okay. Give it a second. It's reading all the IFA file. Maybe I shouldn't load that many. All right. So let's say that's all the ceiling, the light fixture I have. Just pick something like maybe this ceiling light. Okay. Maybe this one. Okay. Now you see it's grayed out. You cannot do anything. Why? Because we don't have a ceiling. So let's go back and create a ceiling again. So let me do the ceiling. Now we can also try to fix the problem. We shouldn't have a ceiling here. The ceiling probably will just, from design perspective, probably just stop here and then go all the way to maybe here. All right, so now if I go to system and go light fixture, and now I can play it. And once again, you can actually use the equalize function, all those functions here. I'm just going to save the time and just randomly plot something here. So let's take a look at it. You see, that basically shows the light fixture that I added. All right. So that's adding light fixture. We added the ceiling, we added light fixture, wall finish. All right. So now it's the fun part. Let's add some furniture. Okay. So let me go back.
For this lighting fixture, how do we know how the dimension, like where to put it? And because in the floor plans, it is given that, okay, 6 feet from the wall, only we put like a ceiling fan or ceiling light.
I understand that. So it's just, you can basically use your own design.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's go back to the 0-1 lower level floor plan. We want to put some furniture here. So we want to use floor plan. Okay. So let's go to architecture, components. Nothing here useful. So let's load family. The furniture are part of a components because we don't know, or Revit doesn't know where to put them. So they just call them components. So let's find a folder called furniture. Okay. And TV stand, of course, we do need this thing. Mirror, probably not. Let's load them. Okay, and then let's load more. Let's go architecture, component, and let's go to insert, load family, and let's just find more seating. Okay. That's this sofa. Okay, so I can put the sofa here. You can use the space bar to rotate that. So maybe I just put it like here. All right. Architecture component. Oh, sorry. Insert, load family. And let's say I have sofa. I probably need some tables, not a desk. Okay, maybe just coffee table. And I can put it here. All right. And I can put, I think I loaded the TV stand. So let's find the TV stand I loaded. Here it is. So I can put it here. All right. And I think I also loaded the TV, right? Where's the TV? Here it is. They are too small, but it's okay. So let me use this 50-inch and put it here. And I can just select this one, edit tab, and I want to duplicate and change it to, you know, I know there's a new one. It's 120-inch. I'm going to change it to 120-inch. Boom, I have this huge TV. Okay, and I probably also want to put some stand light just next to my coffee table. So I just go architecture, go find some. Okay, so it should be, yeah, table light. Find a stand. Here, okay. So I'm just going to use this one and can put one here. I also can add some light fixture on the wall. So I just go to System, Light Fixture, and I think I saw something that can mount on the wall. By the way, you can also find all the standing light in this category. That's exterior, studio light. No, this is on the ceiling. So System, light fixture. That's a wall. Okay. No, this is not the one that can move the wall. Okay. That's all the ceiling light. That's emergency. Okay, anyway, I'm just going to random pick something. I don't know what that is. Here. All right, that's some light. Okay. All right, so let me take a look at it. Something's wrong with my TV, right? The TV is actually on the ground, not on this TV stand. Do you know why? Because we also need to define the elevation, right? So I'm just going to see, is that too much? Pretty much right, but the TV is too big. Anyway, let me just make it smaller. 70 should be fine. All right. Okay, so now I think I have something that looks pretty good for this living area. All right, so can I take a picture of it? Yes. Do you guys still remember how to take a picture? If I want to take a picture from this angle, I should go to this level, which is the 01 lower level. I'm just going to the view, and do not click this house, the little house, but go here, the lower level, and go camera. And I'm just going to maybe stand here and take a picture from this angle like this. All right, so how to change the level detail, go fine, and go realistic. That looks pretty good. Oh, I'm not happy with this, hand railing. Can I just change it without changing the stairs? Yes. You just go select this one, and you just change the component. I want to change it to pipe. Okay, perfect. Can I change the color? Yes. You just go there, edit tab, and go where? Go to the material, and then you can basically change, whatever color you want. So there's so many things you can play with. All right, so this looks good. Can I do more, like a rendering? Yes. So this is actually the beauty with Revit. Revit actually provides this fundamental rendering function. It's here. If you go there, you can render that. Render actually means to convert this computer-generated view to a more photorealistic view. So it has a physics engine, light engine that calculates how light should behavior and give you all the shadow, everything. So I'm just going to give a quick example. The setting actually shows the quality of that. The rendering will take a lot of computer power, take a while. So probably we don't use the best one, just use high. And also it shows the resolution. I'm just going to use, this is probably too much. Let me just use, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. And it shows that the image will be 11 megabit. You can also define what looks like outside. So, the exterior can be sun only and the sun artificial. What is the sun artificial? It means that do you want to turn on the lights or not? I guarantee you, if you turn on more lights, the rendering will take longer because the computing of how these lights behave will be more complex. But I just want to show you, you just sun artificial. And if you do this one, it will ask you, basically you can define so many things, like where's the sun, and the solar, is that, single day or still a multiple day. So I'm just going to click this one. Artificial lights. So because I used artificial, if I go this one, this will be gray out. It's only sun, so it's only natural light. But if I select a sun artificial, this one will be active. It asks you which lights you want to turn on. So I think I'm going to just turn on, I'm going to turn off all the ceiling lights since the rendering would take forever. Maybe also these two. Okay, I'm just going to turn on the 3 lights here. Also, it asks you what the style of your sky. So I'm just going to see very cloudy. Okay, and if you say this is artificial only, what I mean? That means it's in the night. There's no natural lights at all. So I'm just going to do this one. And of course, you can adjust exposure. That's more advanced. Settings is about your picture setting. So now if I believe everything looks good, I just go render. And then your graphic card will work really hard and calculate the RGB value pixel by pixel. And this one shows the progress. You guys can see that the reflection on the TV screen and also the shadow and everything and shadow on the stairs. Of course, you can also adjust, the position, the path, and the day of the year. So you can make the render really good, actually. I even didn't pick the highest quality, and it's only 13% down at this point in time. And you'll see the lights, right? The lights are on. And see up the texture doesn't look like so different when you were in the design mode, but after render, you can definitely see the texture plays a big role. The default texture, unfortunately, are not that impressive. So that's why a lot of people, they actually take their own pictures or find some better texture pictures image. And after the rendering, it looks perfect. And in the material library, like the one I showed you, go to the structure material and open the library of different materials. You can also define a whole lot of parameters. You can play it yourself, like the reflective, like to make it a more metal look or to make it a more wood look. You can adjust different things. You can adjust the color. You can adjust the repetitive pattern. You can adjust the scale. You can all define a new material from nothing, or you can just adjust existing material. Okay, so I think I'm just going to stop here. You get the sense, right? Don't forget, guys, so after it's done, don't forget to save this picture. Otherwise, your render will be gone, okay? So I'm just going to stop this rendering. I want to show you quickly the artificial only with some more lights on. So I'm just going to maybe just open 2 ceiling lights and see how it looks like.
How do we save the rendering?
So after it's done, let me see, save to project or export. So save to project, you will basically have a new line here under
Okay.
either 3D view or there's a new line should be called rendering. So not here. There should be a new line item called rendering. If you go export, you can directly export it as a PNG file or RGB file. Yeah, GPG file. Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is how it looks like in nights, right? So I just use the artificial lights only. So the source of lights are just these artificial lights we created, but you can see how good the rendering engine is. See the reflection on the window, right? It is fun, guys. You guys have the sense, right? If so, I'm going to just stop here. The rendering can take a while, but I guarantee you after the rendering, it looks perfect. So I stop here. Okay, so you have the sense how rendering works. But like I said, the rendering requires really good computer. We do have a way to work it out. You see that's the difference between render picture and the design picture. This is rendering cloud. It's a cloud server, a cloud service provided by Autodesk. You need to pay for it if you are rendering a lot. But if you just render a couple pictures, they give you like 20 credits or 30 credits, and rendering like a high quality picture will take you 4 credits, things like that. So you just log in with your email address, with your Autodesk account, the one you use to download Revit. Okay, I haven't received my code. Just give me a second. Here it is. Okay, so now it tells you you need to select the 3D view that you want to render that. So this is actually, you just take a picture of that, remember that, right? And if it notify you when the image is ready, and you can basically go there to download or do more. So let's go continue. And if you basically see also similar setup window, so I want to render which 3D view. So this is actually 3D view I created. Every time when you take a picture, it will add a new line item here underneath 3D view. So I want to render this view. And it also asks you, do you want to render a still image or panorama? this is interesting. This panorama actually, you can wear a VR, the virtual reality goggle, and see that yourself. And this is actually a very cheap VR solution. I don't know if you guys heard about this Google Cardboard. It's only about $8. You can buy it from Amazon, and you can insert your phone there. So this actually, this Autodesk provides that function, interactive 3D rendering. So you just go to their website and open that panorama picture, flip your phone, insert that, and you wear that Google Cardboard. You feel that you are standing inside the room you just created. That's amazing. But it takes more credits to do. Quality, definitely we don't want to do standard. We want it to be final, really good. Image size, that's also one that's showing, how many credits you need. But the higher you select, the better the result is. So I'm selecting this one, exposure, advanced, whatever. So email me when it's done and go render. And then it's basically uploading the picture to a server, and you just wait for the email. And once that is done, I think you can go to this website to view the finished work. Plus, you can also see the rendered pictures of others. So this is actually the users of Autodesk rendered using their cloud servers. See, this is actually just computer generated picture. This is the panorama picture, and like a side, it's 360. And if you have this VR goggle, you can actually do that in a VR way. I think you just go log in, sign in.
Dr. do we need to use this for our group project or individual project?
That's for your individual. That's for your individual project. You need to render something. Okay, I'm still waiting for yes, the code. All right, so you can see your rendered project somewhere. So let me see. Where's my, yeah, they keep changing their UI. I just cannot see. Account product. Okay, anyway, I will find it out and show you guys. I will receive an email from Autodesk, and if I click the link, it will lead me to my homepage with all the finished renders I have. Okay, so that's how you render picture. And the last item you would need for your assignment 1 for both graduate students and undergraduate students is walk-through video. So it's animation. So let's say I want to take a video that how a person walks in my level 1. You just go here, view again, and click the lower part of that and go walk through. Imagine you're actually taking multiple pictures. So that's called waypoints. So I'm going to start from here so people can basically see like a, overview of my outside of my building. And it's basically, you just use your mouse to do this, okay? All right, and I click finish. So when this is finished, you want to see this, you just go edit. And so here's the thing. You want to see that once you finish, you go to this project browser, you added a new one called walkthrough. So just go this one. That's actually the walkthrough window that you will have, you will see. So let me just change it to fine and realistic. And then I just go to modify, select this one, and then go to edit this one. And this one shows frame. By default, it's 300 frames. So I'm just going to change it to 0 frame. Okay, frame 1. And I can also define the speed of that. So this one basically shows a uniform speed, which means moving from waypoint 1 to waypoint 2 is giving the same speed. But I say I want people to stay longer in my kitchen area. I just basically show, that's probably my 6, 7. So I can change it to a smaller number, like 0.5, 0.5. Then that means, for waypoint 6 and waypoint 7, you will stay longer there. And this one also shows frames per second. So I have a 300 frames. And if it's 15 frames per second, that's 20, okay? 20 seconds. Of course, you can make it this longer, bigger, like 60 frames per second. Your video will look much smoother, but you need to make these frames also bigger, and total time will also be changed. So let me go okay. And let me just play it for you. So go play. You can also change the incremental rate. You can adjust the pictures to make the parameters to make it different. All right. So of course you can also move from level 1 to level 2. You know, but that's something that we can talk offline. You know, there's a place for you to also change the elevation of your camera. So when this is done, next step is to save it, right? So you just go to File. Just give it a second. And go to Export. And here, this little triangle is go there and go Image Animation. You can basically, the image is the one you rendered, the still image within Revit. The walkthrough is actually the walkthrough video. Just go there and you want to select all the frames or just part of the frames, and the frames per second. You can also change the further here. But one thing, please make sure you change is dimension. Don't use the default dimension, otherwise your resolution will be really low. Let's use at least 1K. What is 1K? I don't know. So it's maybe this. Okay, and also you can change it to rendering. That will take forever, which means you remember the rendered picture of my living area. Now you are actually rendered the entire video. So I think that's too much for us. But anyway, let's just do this and click OK. Then it will save it as an AVI file. So I'm just going to save. It's going to do, okay. All right, so now it's basically going over the walkthrough video again and basically just store it as an AVI file. And that's actually the walkthrough video. All right, guys, so let me stop here. Let's take a 15-minute break and let's return at 5:40. All right.